Hello and welcome to TVB News. In the first 6 days of the National Day Mid-Autumn Golden Week holidays, more than 1.1 million mainland travelers entered Hong Kong. That marks an increase of nearly 5% year-on-year, though the figure has yet to return to pre-pandemic levels. The tourism industry says new tourist attractions on the mainland are ratcheting up competition with Hong Kong. Day 7 of the National Day Golden Week. To avoid the crowds, some mainland visitors chose to travel to Hong Kong towards the end of the week-long holidays. This visitor says there should be fewer tourists over these 2 days, and she decided to go for a quick trip around Hong Kong following travel tips on mainland social media app Xiaohongshu or Rednote. According to the Immigration Department, about 1.16 million mainland visitors entered Hong Kong over the first 6 days of the Golden Week holidays, up about 5% year-on-year. However, the figure is still lower than pre-pandemic levels in 2018. Tourism sector lawmaker Yu Pak Leung says a steady recovery is crucial to the overall tourism industry. He notes that provincial and municipal governments across the mainland have stepped up efforts to launch new tourist attractions and new campaigns, which have intensified competition among mainland tourism markets. He suggests that Hong Kong government boost targeted publicity efforts in cities newly included in the individual visit scheme, including Xi'an and Qingdao. With the 8-day National Day and Mid-Autumn Golden Week holidays coming to an end, the mainland is facing a travel rush today, with more than 9.5 million vehicles expected to travel past Guangdong Expressway today and tomorrow. It's a bustling scene at the West Kowloon high-speed rail station in Hong Kong, which was packed with travelers returning to the mainland. Some tourists say they came back from Bali and are heading home in Guangzhou. They planned their return trip one day earlier, hoping to avoid the crowd. Shenzhen Metro is expected to have peak passenger traffic on Tuesday and Wednesday, with many routes extending their service hours from Monday to Wednesday. Mainland authorities say traffic across the country will increase significantly on Tuesday, especially in popular travel destinations such as Beijing and cities in the Pearl River Delta. Manufacturing defects at 3 light public housing projects have come to light. Some screws used for securing the modular integrated construction units to the concrete wall were cut short. Today, the Architectural Services Department says it's unacceptable that the contractor did not report the incident to authorities right away when they discovered the flawed assembly work. At the center of controversy is contractor Able and Chenhua joint venture, which manages all 3 light public housing projects under scrutiny in Siulan, Chaiwan, and Tuen Mun. It's revealed that about 6% of the 4,000 screws in the 3 projects were cut short or severed. Some are key to securing the modular integrated construction, or MIC units, to the reinforcing concrete core wall. 2,000 of the connecting holes on iron plates were also enlarged without authorization. The Director of Architectural Services, Michael Lee, says the government is reviewing remedial plans submitted by the contractor. He admits that in order to investigate the cause of the incident, it's possible the MIC units have to be dismantled. Speaking on the radio program, Lee says the screws being cut are connected to the middle core concrete structures linked to the elevators and the stairs. He notes that it also involves structural boxes that have to be taken apart before the screws can be inspected. The worst-case scenario, he says, is to dismantle all the boxes and have them reinstalled after examination. Lee says while it's not surprising to have slight deviations of a few millimeters, the problem here is that only after the issue came to light did the contractor reach out to the authorities. And such delays, he says, are unacceptable and the government should investigate the motives behind. Lawmaker Scott Leung says it's necessary to step up inspections to ensure structural safety of all light public housing projects. The light public housing projects involved were scheduled to be completed around the second quarter of next year in phases. Leung says the progress was faster than originally planned, so it's unlikely the manufacturing defects will affect the timeline much. Gold jewelry prices have reached record high levels in Hong Kong, with 1 kilo of gold of around 37.4 grams now costing close to $44,000. Some jewelry stores said this in fact has led to a surge in gold purchases in the city. Timothy Lee tells us more.
Amid global instability and geopolitical tensions, gold prices have risen to a record high. In this jewelry store in Mong Kok, the selling price for each tael of gold has reached close to $44,000. The rising figures have attracted many residents to the business to inquire more about purchasing gold jewelry.
會繼續買，因為感覺而家好似金會比較保值少少。
This woman says she will continue to buy more gold, considering it to be an investment and noting the precious metal is better at keeping its value.
觀察下先啦，都會放㗎，係啊。
While this woman says she came to the store to check up on the latest prices of gold, believing that they will only increase further. But some have yet to be convinced to make a purchase.
貴就唔好買住先咯，即係真係需要先買咯。
This woman said the precious metal is too expensive, adding that it doesn't deserve the current price tag.
因為疫情之後，大家都想吃喝玩樂為先，咁所以見到金價。
This Islah Hakbun, the general manager of the jewelry store, believes both residents and tourists have increased their purchases of gold jewelry because the current period is considered a popular time for weddings. He believes that it is unlikely for gold prices to decline anytime soon. Mr. Lau said the primary reasons for the surge of global gold prices include America's money printing policies and its recent government shutdown. He suggested residents can better prepare for the continued rise of gold prices by buying more gold jewelry and diversifying their investments. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
It's been 2 years since thousands of Hamas-led fighters poured into southern Israel after a surprise barrage of rockets. Some 1,200 people were killed during the skirmishes, while 251 were taken hostages into Gaza. In response, Israel launched an offensive into the Gaza Strip that has killed tens of thousands of people and razed entire towns and cities. Today, indirect talks between Hamas and Israel are taking place in Egypt for phase 1 of the peace proposal that may end the war. Nasi Karim with more.
2 years ago on this day, the first rockets fired from Gaza into Israel. A building in flames in Rehovot. Israel's military ready to respond, and the devastation begins. Around 1,200 people were killed after Hamas and other Palestinian groups launched an unprecedented raid into Israel, with 251 taken hostage. Many of the victims were partygoers attending the Nova Rave festival. Today it is a memorial. Relatives and friends walk, pause and reflect among the pictures of victims scattered across the area. For the Palestinians, response was brutal. The Gaza Strip is now a virtual wasteland. More than 67,000 dead, mostly women and children, and thousands more believed buried under rubble. Death, starvation, disease, displacement and desperation normalized over 2 years. A stark contrast to the Egyptian resort town of Sharm el-Sheikh, where camels and tourists go about their business, oblivious to the potentially historic negotiations taking place here that could lead to the end of the war in Gaza. Hamas and Israel are on Tuesday into their second day of indirect talks, with the United States acting as broker. Reports say the talks are focusing on setting the field for the release of 48 remaining Gaza hostages, 20 of them believed to be alive, and the freeing of close to 2,000 Palestinians held in Israel. U.S. President Donald Trump, whose 20-point peace plan has been partially accepted by Hamas, is confident.
And I think Hamas now has been, all I can say is they've been fine. They've been fine. I hope it's going to continue that way. I think it will. I really think we're going to have a deal. We have a really good chance of making a deal, and it'll be a lasting deal. We want to have peace. This is beyond Gaza. Gaza is a big deal, but this is really peace in the Middle East.
For 2 years, Israelis have been demanding action for the return of all hostages. And for 2 years, Palestinians have simply been trying to stay alive. What happens over the next few days will determine whether their struggles continue or a new era of peace dawns. Nazri Karim, TVB News.
Swedish activist Greta Thunberg has hit out at governments that had failed to act to stop Israel's military operation in the Gaza Strip, saying international systems were betraying the Palestinians. Thunberg and hundreds of others were taken into custody after their global Summit flotilla carrying aid was intercepted off the Gaza Strip. She said they were treated badly by the Israelis, but insists the real story is what she described as a genocide in Gaza.
Let me be very clear. There is a genocide going on in front of our very eyes. A live-streamed genocide on all of our phones. No one has the privilege to say we are not aware of what is happening. No one in the future will be able to say we did not know. Under international law, states have a legal obligation to act to prevent and to stop a genocide from happening. That means ending complicity, applying real pressure, and ending arms transfers. Our international systems are betraying Palestinians.
3 U.S.-based scientists have won the 2025 Nobel Prize in Physics, the award-giving body said today. John Clark, Michel Devoret, and John Martinez carried out experiments with an electrical circuit in which they demonstrated both quantum mechanical tunneling and quantized energy levels in a system big enough to be held in the hand. British-born Clark is a professor at the University of California, Berkeley in the United States. Devoret, born in France, is a professor at Yale University and the University of California, Santa Barbara, where Martinez is also a professor. The award given by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences includes a prize sum totaling $1.2 million. Past winners include Albert Einstein, Pierre and Marie Curie, Max Planck, and Niels Bohr, a pioneer in quantum theory. Welcome back. As the U.S. government shutdown enters its 7th day, the White House says there are no shutdown-related layoffs yet, but warns they could come. U.S. President Donald Trump cracked the door open slightly to negotiate with Democrats on the health care subsidies central to the shutdown fight. But on Monday, he closed it, leaving the two sides once again at an impasse. Tracy Furness reports.
U.S. President Donald Trump said he would be open to striking a deal on Obamacare subsidies that are at the heart of the government shutdown fight. He noted billions of dollars are being wasted, a nod to conservatives who do not want the health subsidies extended.
We are speaking with the Democrats, and some very good things could happen with respect to health care. If we made the right deal, I'd make a deal, sure. I mean, you have right now subsidies. You have subsidies. That's the problem with Obamacare. The subsidies are so much. It's billions and billions of dollars is being wasted. And we can have a much better health care than we have right now. I think a lot of good things could happen, and that could also pertain to health care.
Trump was then asked if the shutdown could lead to government layoffs.
It could. At some point it will. And, the Democrats are the ones that started this.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said Democratic lawmakers on Capitol Hill are ready to sit down to work things out with Trump after he said he was ready to strike a deal.
We will sit down with anyone at any time and at any place, either here at the Capitol or over at the White House, to reopen the government, to enact a bipartisan spending agreement that actually meets the needs of the American people, and to address the Republican health care crisis.
The Senate took another doomed pair of votes Monday on funding the federal government. Neither the Republican measure nor the Democratic proposal came close to gaining the 60 votes needed to advance. This as Trump seemed to shift from his earlier comments about being open to a deal on health care with Democrats, saying he will only discuss a potential deal extending health care tax credits once the Democrats support the GOP funding. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva asked U.S. President Donald Trump to eliminate the newly imposed 50% tariffs on Brazilian products in a phone call on Monday. In a call initiated by Trump, Lula noted that Brazil is one of the 3 countries in the group of 20 with which the United States has a trade surplus. Trump spoke about the call at his press conference.
Well, I had a great talk with the president of Brazil, who's a good man. I met him actually at the United Nations. I was going up to make a speech and I didn't have a teleprompter. I was walking up to my teleprompter. I said, I don't have a teleprompter. But just before that, I met with President Lula and I found him to be very good. I mean, we had a very good talk for about, 2 minutes.
Traveling to Brazil for COP30?
At some point I would, and he's going to come here. We talked about that.
Foreign Minister Wang Yi headed to Italy to hold the 12th joint meeting of the China-Italy Government Committee. An academic believes Wang's trip can help cement the cooperation between Beijing and Rome in multiple areas. Foreign Minister Wang Yi in Rome to attend the 12th joint meeting of the China-Italy Government Committee, held again after a 2-year hiatus. That's at the invitation of Italy's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Antonio Tajani. The meeting came against the backdrop of Giorgia Meloni becoming Italy's premier. Rome subsequently withdrew from the China-led Belt and Road Initiative in 2023. Hui Qing, an international relations academic, believes as this year marks the 55th anniversary of diplomatic relations between China and Italy, Wang's Rome visit will aim to consolidate their ties. He says with diplomatic thoughts, Beijing and Rome can allow more synergy in regional, international and bilateral affairs, not just in trade, but also in fields of culture, science and technology. As to whether the meeting will touch on the Belt and Road issue, Hui says Italy will likely continue its cooperation with China in a relatively low-key way to avoid becoming a strategic target of the United States or the UK. After his stop at Italy, Wang Yi will travel to Switzerland and hold the 4th round of China-Switzerland Foreign Ministers' strategic dialogue. The joint civil service recruitment for 2025-26 closed last Friday, marking it the third consecutive year with over 20,000 applications. Secretary for Civil Service Ingrid Yeung said on social media that approximately 20,700 applications were received for this year's joint recruitment. About 13,600 applications were received for administrative officer positions, a year-on-year increase of about 3%, marking the highest number of applications since 2021 to 2022. Yeung expressed encouragement at the number of applications, saying it reflects the interest of recent graduates and others in joining the government. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.